Welcome to another installment of the Mastercam studio at ProtoTek. This exclusive video series features the exceptional functionality found only within Mastercam, the #1 most widely used cam software in the world. Here's the topic of today's video.
Today we're going to take a look at drafting note and see if it can help you in your programming going forward. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. On my screen here I have a round part that we're going to engrave in a couple different areas. On the flat we're going to put some engraving on there for a part number, and we're also going to show you how we can roll that part number on a round. Up in the drafting menu up in Mastercam we have the note option. If I go into the note option, I have the ability to type in whatever I want here for letters. Now in this case here I'm just going to type in part number 1. And this kind of works just like our wireframe create letters option. The same sort of clicks here. So if I go ahead and just put part 1 out into space, this will give me the ability to make it easy to select later down the road. In our note dialog box, we have a bunch of options as far as bolding, italics, underlines, a lot of different font sizes that you're used to you'll have in here. You can change the height in here to whatever height that you want the letters to be. And then you do have presets in the bottom as far as horizontal, vertical, or mirror. So I placed my letters out into space here, and I'm going to go ahead and green check. I'm now going to use our transform dynamic option that we're all used to. I'm going to go ahead and window my whole note and end selection. Now one nice thing that we did keep here is we do have our blue and white temporary midpoint that we can use inside of Mastercam. So I'm going to go ahead and anchor up on the blue and white dot on my note that I created and anchor it there. I can now drag this to my position on my part, and now I can use quick points to align this to the center of my feature. I'm going to go ahead and green check there. Now my letters are now placed on the part. Now I can just go ahead and do a simple contour toolpath to engrave this. Now I have one pre-built in here without any geometry, so let's go ahead and just add some geometry. Now the chaining method for this note is going to be a little different than we're probably used to here. You're not going to go ahead and window this. It's a note, so it's all one feature. It's considered as one feature. So I'm just going to go to my wireframe menu and just have full chain on. As soon as I hover over the note that I have on my part, you'll see that the whole thing highlights. All I need to do at this point is left click on it. I'm going to go ahead and green check out of my selection, green check out of my add chain, and I'm going to regenerate this. Now what we have here is we have a toolpath on here to engrave part 1 onto the part. So if I go ahead and take a look at this and verify, we're going to see this engraved as we would expect. Now the nice thing about note is we can go and edit this. So we can edit this on the fly. So if you have a family of parts that have different part numbers, here's where it's really going to pay dividends to use the note function. So I'm going to go back to my note, and simply once I hover over the note, you'll see that it highlights yellow. If I left click on it and go back up to the drafting menu and go back to note, you'll see that it fills in what I wrote in here before. In this case it's part number 1. I can go back here and I can type in this is going to be part number 5. I can simply green check and regenerate, and now my engrave toolpath is now going to engrave part number 5 instead of part number 1. So as you can see in this case here, very handy to use for editing of text. We didn't have the ability to do this previous, and now we do. One other situation we can get into here is maybe I want to cut this on the round of the part. So one rule to this is we're not going to be able to roll a note. It's going to have to be flat. So in this case here, if I go ahead and turn off some of my levels here, you'll see that I have some of this prepped out here for us. So here I have part number 1, 2, 3, 4 written in note form, so I can always go back and edit this. And it's laying at the center of rotary. If I go back to my tool paths here, I do have a tool path here already built, and this is the same situation here. I picked a note, as we can see that it's picked through there. And I went ahead in my parameters, and I just used my rotary axis controls, axis substitution, and I rolled it on the part at a huge diameter of 6.8 inches. If we go ahead and look at this into machine simulation, now you'll see that this is now being engraved onto our part in full machine simulation. And I would also have the ability to go back and edit this note at any time, and it would update on the round of that part without going and reconstructing anything. I certainly hope you can take this little example I gave you of editing a note and using it for engraving in Mastercam. It's very handy, especially for different part numbers. For the ability not to have to go back and recreate the wheel, now we can just go edit what we already have on the fly very simply. Make sure you check out our YouTube videos. We're making them constantly, and thank you for watching.